In every neighborhood, there's a house that seems to radiate comfort. Laughter echoes from its walls. Porch lights flicker gently at dusk. Neighbors wave. Children play on the front lawn. A place so full of life until one day it isn't. This story begins on Pinehurst Avenue, a street like any other, lined with modest southern homes and unshakable Sunday routines. But behind one polished door, the illusion of love was already rotting from the inside. Before we begin, like this video and comment where you are watching from. Your support helps us bring more intriguing stories. Now let's begin. Meet the Grants. Lamar Grant, 38, charismatic, sharp-dressed, respected at the local bank where he was a senior loan officer. To most, he was a picture of responsibility. Danielle Grant, 36, a school counselor, soft-spoken but fiercely intelligent. She could read a child's pain before they spoke a word. And her laugh? Like wind chimes on a summer day. Then there were their children, Malik, 10, obsessed with dinosaurs and riddles, and Ava, just 7, who still believed in fairies and whispered prayers into her pillow at night. They were a unit, a family stitched together with faith, tradition, and dream for tomorrow. But monsters don't always wear masks. Sometimes they wear wedding rings. At exactly 6:47 a.m. on April 12, 2023, a 911 call came into the DeKalb County Dispatch Center. Lamar Grant's voice. "My family's gone. I think someone broke in. They're not moving. Please. I think they're dead." Police arrived 7 minutes later. What they found would silence even the most seasoned officer. Danielle Grant was sprawled across the kitchen floor, her head bloodied, a deep gash on the left side of her skull. Her arms were frozen mid-motion, as if trying to shield someone. Malik and Ava lay in their beds, peaceful, almost untouched, but each bore the purple hue of suffocation. There were no signs of forced entry, no valuables missing, no broken glass, just 3 lifeless bodies and a man sobbing in the living room, holding a family photo like it was sacred scripture. To officers, Lamar's pain seemed operatic. He wept until he vomited, screamed so loud. The neighbors watched from porches in pajamas, clutching their chests. But grief, real grief, doesn't always perform for an audience. And something about Lamar's grief felt curated. Detective Raina Holloway was first on the case. A 15-year veteran with instincts like razors. In Detective Holloway interview excerpt, he said he'd gone for a walk to clear his head, came home, found them dead, but his shoes were bone dry. It had been raining that morning. Small detail, but a crack in the mask. The story didn't add up, and neither did Lamar's timeline. Neighbors didn't recall seeing him that morning. Surveillance from a nearby intersection showed no sign of him walking, and forensic analysis of scene, no prints but his. No defensive wounds on the children, no struggle marks, just stillness. Stillness that suggested one thing. They trusted whoever killed them. From the outside, the Grants looked picture perfect. Church every Sunday, vacations in Myrtle Beach, Facebook posts of anniversary dinners. But when detectives dug deeper, the veneer cracked. Danielle had confided in her sister, Ayana, just weeks before her death. In Ian's recorded interview, she told me Lamar changed. Cold, controlling, like he wanted her to be invisible. She said she was scared of him. Scared of her own husband. Friends mentioned Danielle had talked about leaving. Quietly, carefully. She even looked into rental properties. But nothing on paper. Nothing that would raise alarm. And now it was too late. There's a tragic pattern, repeated across households, across states, across years. A woman tries to leave, and then she never gets a chance. What happened between 2 a.m. and 6:47 a.m.? Phone records showed Lamar's phone was off for exactly 4 hours that night. When it pinged again, it was inside the house, where he claimed he wasn't. Security footage from across the street captured a faint silhouette moving between the garage and kitchen door at 4:03 a.m. Lamar claimed he slept through the night, but the autopsy told a different story. Danielle was killed between 3:45 and 4:15 a.m. The kids? Likely just minutes later. It's hard to imagine the terror in those final moments. Danielle, hearing a noise coming downstairs. Maybe she recognized him in the shadows. Maybe she pleaded, not for herself, but for her children. Malik, Ava, too young to run, too innocent to understand what evil looked like when it wore Daddy's face. Lamar was invited to speak at their vigil. He stood at the pulpit in a neatly pressed suit, cried, quoted scripture, thanked police, called his wife his soul and the children his light. The crowd wept with him. And yet, as the candles flickered, so did the mask. Reporters noticed inconsistencies. A woman in the crowd swore she saw Lamar at a gas station at 5:30 a.m. Police requested surveillance. It showed Lamar, all right, in the passenger seat of a red Ford Fusion, eyes sunken, face blank, not calling 911, just staring. Whose car was it? Why had he lied? Detectives tracked the car to a woman named Nia Henderson, a former colleague, single, recently laid off, and, it turns out, involved with Lamar. So now, the narrative was unraveling. Fast. A secret affair. A hidden life. And maybe a motive. A search warrant executed on Lamar's phone and laptop revealed dozens of deleted messages. He'd promised Nia a future. A house. Children. He told her he was almost free. Almost free. Those were his exact words. 2 days before the murders. He even joked in one message, soon it'll be just us. And just like that, the illusion of the grieving husband evaporated. He wasn't broken by their deaths. He was relieved. With mounting evidence, detectives moved to arrest Lamar Grant. But he was gone. Vanished. Neighbors said they saw him pack a suitcase the night before. Security footage showed the black SUV leaving the neighborhood at 2:14 a.m., 2 hours before the warrant was signed. Police issued a bolo. His bank accounts had been drained. His phone went dark. And now, the man who once wept over coffins was a fugitive. He murdered his wife and kids, then played the victim. But if you think the story ends with his escape, you don't know what happened next. This is not just a story of murder. It's a story of masks and what happens when they slip. When the sun rose on April 17, 2023, officers arrived at the Grant residence with an arrest warrant. By that point, the truth had cut through every lie. Lamar Grant was not a broken husband. He was a man on the run, a man who planned, executed, and cleaned up the murders of his wife and 2 children, then wept on camera with rehearsed grief. There were no suitcases left behind, no notes, no sign of struggle. The front door was locked, but inside, drawers were emptied, USB drives gone, credit cards missing. Security footage captured the final known image of Lamar at 2:14 a.m., slipping into the passenger seat of a black SUV. The license plate had been removed. Where he went next, no one knew, but someone was helping him. The question was, who? Remember Nia Henderson? The woman in the red Ford Fusion. The one Lamar was secretly seeing while still married to Danielle. She worked with Lamar for 3 years at the bank before being let go in early 2023. Around the same time, friends say her demeanor changed. Friend of Nia's interview. She just became quieter, obsessed with this new relationship. She called him her escape, said he understood her. But detectives found something troubling. Texts between Nia and Lamar from the week of the murders revealed dark undertones. He had written, "I'll do what I have to. I'm done living a double life." Her reply, "I'll be here when you're ready. Just make it clean. Just make it clean." For words that turn a girlfriend into a possible accomplice. Nia was taken into custody less than a week after Lamar vanished. Inside her apartment, police found maps of rural areas in Georgia, burner phones, prepaid gas cards, and a single post-it note that read, "New life, no turning back." When interrogated, Nia folded fast. She admitted to helping Lamar disappear, but she swore she didn't know about the murders until after they happened. In Nia's interrogation audio, she said, "He told me they were gone, that he had no choice. I didn't know until I saw the news, but I was already in it. I couldn't back out." She drove him 200 miles south to an abandoned trailer owned by a cousin he hadn't spoken to in years. There, Lamar ditched his phone, changed clothes, and shaved his head. He used cash to buy a fake ID off a man in a Waffle House parking lot. And by the time detectives caught up, he was gone again. To understand Lamar's escape, we have to understand who he really was. Because the man the public mourned, the grieving widower, was a persona, a costume stitched together with charm, ambition, and performance. But underneath, Lamar was drowning in debt, secret credit cards, hidden accounts. Danielle never knew. He borrowed $48,000 from a loan shark in Atlanta to cover gambling losses, and he wasn't paying it back. Texts uncovered from his cloud backup, which he forgot to delete, revealed a man unraveling. They're suffocating me. Every day, I wake up wishing I was alone. I could start over. If they were gone, just gone. He wasn't trapped. He was cornered by consequences. And he decided that the only way out was to erase the people who loved him most. 10 days after the murders, a tip came in from a gas station clerk in Mobile, Alabama. A man matching Lamar's description. Thinner now, bald, glasses, had come in, paid with cash, and asked about bus routes to Texas. Detectives rushed to retrieve surveillance footage. There he was, alive, calm, almost forgettable. He'd registered at a roadside motel under the name David Sloan. Used a fake ID. Checked out 3 days later. But that wasn't the only lead. Another tip placed him at a homeless shelter in Houston, volunteering under the alias Marcus Blake. There he was, making sandwiches, folding donated clothes, while vigils were still being held for his wife and children. It was more than escape. It was mockery. On interview clips of Danielle's sister, Ayanna, seated in her living room holding a framed photo of Danielle and the kids. Ayanna, tearful. We just want to know why. Why them? Malik wanted to be a scientist. Ava, she sang every morning, even when she was brushing her teeth. Their absence echoed through every hallway. Every birthday uncelebrated. Every toy that no longer moved. And the man who took it all, the man who stood at their funeral, was somewhere out there hiding behind another mask. You see, when someone dies, we look for meaning. But when someone kills their family, we search for humanity and often come up empty. On May 1st, a breakthrough. A call came into Nia Henderson's prepaid burner phone. The line had been tapped under a federal warrant. Caller, distorted audio. It's me. I'm safe. Don't trust anyone. I'll reach out again soon. The voice was unmistakable. Lamar Grant was still alive, and he was watching. Police traced the call to a payphone outside a rundown diner in Shreveport, Louisiana. But by the time they arrived, the phone was hanging off the hook, still warm to the touch. He was always one step ahead. But even ghosts leave footprints. In the hush of the southern dawn, a shadow slipped away again. Somewhere between state lines, lies, and desperation, Lamar Grant disappeared like vapor into morning fog. But justice is not so easily outrun. Because as police closed, a second accomplice would be revealed. Someone even closer to the case. Someone no one expected. And a discovery inside an old storage unit would change everything we thought we knew. He murdered his wife and kids, then played the victim. But the final act of this story hasn't been written yet. This isn't just a story about one man's fall. It's about how darkness festers in silence and the people who look the other way. Some people carry guilt. Lamar Grant, he stored it. Inside an abandoned unit in rural Mississippi, police found something worse than a smoking gun. They found a blueprint of murder written in the killer's own hand. A journal, over 200 pages, each line darker than the last. And what it revealed changed everything we thought we knew about Lamar and his victims. The lead came from a tip, an anonymous call from a payphone in Memphis. The caller said only this: check the unit off Route 6, under Lamar's mother's name. Investigators followed it, and behind a metal roll-up door, past boxes of old clothes and broken furniture, they found a duffel bag containing $6,400 in cash, several burner phones, a fake passport under the name Kareem Daniels, and one leather-bound notebook. The first page read, "If you're reading this, I've already vanished. But at least now you'll know the truth." It wasn't a confession. It was a manifesto. The journal began months before the murders. Entry after entry, Lamar detailed his growing resentment toward Danielle. Not for abuse, not for betrayal, but for existence. "I love her, but she weighs me down. If I had never married her, I'd be someone by now. Sometimes I imagine what it would be like if they just disappeared." Then it got darker. Ava is starting to ask too many questions. She's too smart for her own good. Malik's clingy. I can't breathe in that house anymore. I know what I need to do. The only question is when. He didn't snap. He plotted, page after page. Lamar described trial runs, how he studied his wife's sleep patterns, what time the kids usually woke up, the neighbors' routines, even how long it would take for the bodies to be discovered if he reported them missing after 24 hours. It was calculated, cold, no accident, no moment of passion. This was a man rehearsing murder in his mind and then writing it down in ink. But the most shocking entry wasn't about Danielle or the children. It was about his brother, Detective Carter, who steps in as part of the broader investigative team. In his interview, there was a name in that journal we didn't expect to see. But once we did, a lot of things started making sense. The name, Darius Grant, Lamar's older brother. On page 143 of the journal, Lamar wrote, "Darius knows. He said he'd help me disappear if it ever came to that. Blood protects blood." Darius was a security guard, clean record, family man. He attended every vigil, sat beside Danielle's parents, carried Malik's casket. And now he was a suspect. Investigators confronted Darius under the pretense of reopening financial leads. But what they really wanted was his alibi the night Lamar vanished. He claimed he was at home with his wife. She confirmed it at first, but under pressure, she broke. She said Darius left the house at 1:45 a.m., 30 minutes before Lamar was seen getting into a black SUV. His excuse? He said he was meeting someone from work. Detectives searched Darius's car. In the glove compartment, they found a GPS tracker with preloaded coordinates to the Louisiana shelter Lamar had been hiding in. A burner phone was hidden in the tire well. It had received 2 calls from an untraceable number, both shortly after the murders. And suddenly, the picture was clear. Lamar hadn't escaped alone. He'd been carried by his own brother. Faced with evidence, Darius finally spoke. He claimed he didn't know what Lamar had done, that he thought he was helping him avoid some people who were after him. But then detectives dropped the journal in front of him. Darius's hands shook, his words faltered, and finally he whispered, "He told me it was over, that they were gone. I didn't ask for details." He didn't ask for details because he didn't want the truth to stain his conscience. Because deep down he already knew. Police interview with Danielle's best friend, Tasha. She told me she was scared, that Lamar was acting strange. She was going to take the kids and leave. Danielle had seen the signs. She just didn't know how close the danger really was. In texts found on her phone, sent just 2 days before her death, she wrote, "He's watching me sleep. I feel like I don't even know him anymore. If something happens to me, please don't let him get away with it." Those weren't dramatics. They were premonitions, and they would become her last words. Malik and Ava left behind more than toys and clothes. Malik's tablet contained drawings of spaceships, notes about becoming a NASA engineer, and a video message to his mom. "I love you, Mommy. You're the best. I'm going to build you a rocket one day." Ava's journal, found under her bed, was filled with songs she'd written for her 3rd grade music class. One, dated the day before her murder, read, "When the stars are gone, you're my light. Even in the dark, I'll sing for you." She never got to sing that song in class. But now, we remember her voice anyway. Lamar's last known location was a motel outside San Antonio. But when police stormed the room, they found only a blood-streaked sink and a note. "You think you understand me, but you've only scratched the surface. L. No fingerprints. No cameras. Just silence." He was no longer running. He was hunting the silence, feeding on the chaos left behind. And somewhere out there, he was still watching, waiting, because killers like Lamar don't just disappear. They dissolve until something or someone brings them back into the light. On May 15th, 1 month of the day after murders, a man was spotted at Danielle's grave just before nightfall. Security cameras caught only part of his face. Bald, glasses, clean-shaven. He placed a single red lily, then walked away. When police arrived, they found fresh footprints leading to the woods. But no one there. He came back. Not to mourn, to gloat, to control the narrative one last time. But this time, the ending is no longer his to write, because an unexpected whistleblower has come forward with proof of where Lamar is, proof of who helped him beyond Darius and Nia, proof of why he did it and what he planned next, and what's coming will make the first act look like a warm-up. He murdered his wife and kids, then played the victim. Now, the mask slips are good. He vanished into the shadows of America. No trail, no witnesses, no camera footage, only whispers, until someone finally spoke. The call came from an unlisted number. A man's voice, low and trembling. I know where Lamar Grant is, and I know who helped him disappear. The tip led police to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. An address, a name, Nia Ellis, Danielle's old college roommate. On the surface, Nia was a pediatric nurse. No priors, no debt, nothing suspicious. But a closer look revealed encrypted payments from a foreign account, a new passport issued under an alias, and dozens of deleted messages. Recovered messages included this chilling line from Lamar. You were always the only one who saw me. The real me. I'm coming for you once it's done. She wasn't just his helper. She was his believer. She played the long game. Changed phones, drove across state lines, communicated in code. But love makes people sloppy. Investigators traced her rental car GPS. The final destination? A cabin off-grid in Georgia. By the time authorities moved in, she was gone, but the cabin wasn't empty. They found Lamar, alive, armed, and smiling. He didn't run. He didn't resist. He simply looked up and whispered, "What took you so long?" For 72 hours, Lamar said nothing. No food, no lawyer, no emotion. But then he spoke. Lamar Grant's recorded interrogation. They loved me when I made money. They respected me when I wore the mask. But no one cared about the storm in my chest. He called his crimes acts of freedom. Said Danielle's love was a leash. Said the children were chains. And when detectives asked why he played the grieving husband, he smirked. Because grief is the easiest mask to wear. Everyone claps for the man who cries on cue. The trial began on September 19th. National attention. Packed courtroom. 3 dozen witnesses. And 1 journal. 212 pages long. Presented as Exhibit A. Lamar represented himself the first 3 days, delivering bizarre monologues about surveillance, society, and false expectations placed on black men to be everything to everyone. But this story wasn't about society. It was about 3 lives he destroyed. Danielle, Ava, Malik. Their faces lit up the courtroom monitors each morning. A child's laugh played during Ava's birthday video made jurors weep. Malik's rocket drawings were passed around. Some of them had burn marks from the fire. It was more than evidence. It was memory. It was humanity. On the 9th day of deliberation, the jury returned. 3 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of aggravated arson, 1 count of attempting to flee prosecution, life in prison, no possibility of parole. As the verdict was read, Lamar stared ahead, emotionless, not a single tear, not a single flicker. Danielle's mother, Elaine, collapsed into her chair, clutching a locket filled with her daughter's ashes. The judge addressed Lamar directly. "Mr. Grant, you wore many masks, but behind them all, you were a coward. You destroyed what you could never control, and you played the victim when justice came knocking. This court strips you of your illusion." And with that, the door finally closed behind the devil. Danielle's childhood home is now a shelter for women escaping domestic violence. Ava's 3rd grade class planted a garden in her honor. Sunflowers, her favorite. Malik's drawings were turned into a children's book. All proceeds go to child abuse prevention organizations. Their lives didn't end. They transformed into purpose, into memory, into warning. Let's be honest, we don't want to believe monsters live in ordinary houses. We look for evil in the shadows, not across the dinner table. But evil doesn't always scream. Sometimes it smiles. Sometimes it says, "I love you." Sometimes it plays the victim. The truth is, Abuse doesn't always leave bruises. Control doesn't always come with yelling. And sometimes the most dangerous man in the room is the one who seems like a good one. So if you feel afraid in your own home, if someone makes you doubt your worth, isolate you, control you, watch you, please talk to someone. Love should never be a cage. And if it is, break the lock before someone else breaks you. Danielle, Ava, and Malik deserve more. They were not a tragedy. They were music. They were light. They were dreams deferred, but not forgotten. Let their names be more than victims. Let them be a call to attention for anyone feeling trapped, silenced, or unseen. If this story moved you, if it opened your eyes or stirred something in your heart, don't let it end here. Like this video to honor Danielle, Ava, and Malik. Comment below with your thoughts, your stories, or even just their names. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe for more true stories that don't just inform but awaken. Because the world isn't changed by silence. It's changed by stories. And you just heard one that matters.